Okay, so that's a couple of ways, everyone, that you could search for a specific company if you want, or if you want to do things by your region and take a look at that, and then you just save them by checking them, and they're going to show up somewhere else as a dashboard or something.
Yeah, so for now, simply what we are saying is just copy this URL. That's the easiest one. You can save it as my target accounts or something like that. My Chicago targets. So this is what we are doing for now, and we'll add more into the dashboard later. So what happens is you can copy later when you go to your bookmarks and add this up. Report that you created shows up with your 57 million in the pipe, or the target budgets and the companies that you already selected. So for now, you can create custom URLs and do it that way. Create multiple number of lists, any number of lists. But one point I wanted to mention was when you do select the team, select the companies and the locations in Chicago, then you get to, it tells you which are the teams with the most amount of money, right? So all states, of all the companies that we selected, even though we said Blue Cross has more money and United has more money, that's what we thought. All-state innovation team is the first one you may want to target. So you will go to LinkedIn, innovation team. There are some executives there. You may want to start talking to them or build your relationships there. TransUnion. So this is what happens. Now, if you say, you know what, I want to spread, it's not just Chicago, but also I can fly to New York. So let me add New York to that. I can also go to maybe Boston. But you still have the same set of companies, but you just added a bunch of locations. So now you will start seeing, for example, here I saw a couple of New York. So if you have the ability to go to other places, then you can add and start engaging the teams there as well. So that's another way to do it. So the left panel is where pretty much all the controls are, locations and companies, and you can build your territories or company list that way.
Okay, thank you. I think it would probably be good for them to do both. There's certain companies that they're going to focus on, and they'd want to see where the buckets are throughout the US, and then definitely checking in their own backyard to see if there's any companies that they should be focused on that look like they're spending.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And for accounts, you want to create your account strategy. So there you want to select all locations and pick that specific company. So for example, here we said Wells Fargo. If you want to pick Wells Fargo, obviously Wells Fargo has most activity in the Bay Area, but it actually has Charlotte as where most of the activity is as far as AI and big data is concerned. So that's so these are all the locations. So if that's your big company strategy, pick a company, and then you'll get all the locations lined up. And the other strategy is you pick a location and then look at all the companies that are active in that location.
Give some examples of some other more innovative custom queries that you could think of us using that would help us.
Yeah, so the custom queries, the reason we allow or we would love to have you ask those custom queries later in the year or as the quarters progress is as you engage an account where you find traction. Let us say you do find traction on the innovation team. The idea here is to help you get more intelligence once you are engaged. So you could ask custom queries like, what is the technology makeup of the innovation team? For example, this is how the company is set up, but what other technologies are they using? What does the stack look like? Are they Java shop? Are they Microsoft shop? What is going on? So you could be asking very specific questions around specific teams or specific locations. The most popular question is, what is the overall IT spend of the company month over month, right? So that's one of the more popular questions we keep getting. But typically we would recommend asking questions that will help you progress in that account. And we will do our best to get the answer. That's the given the data sources and with some level of accuracy. But if we get to a point where there is insufficient data and we cannot guarantee the accuracy of the numbers, we will give you the option to ask a second query. So it all depends upon how much data that we have to support that request that you have.
Okay, that sounds fair. So if you start to head down a path and you find, you know what, this isn't going to be as robust as we had hoped, let us try to help you in another way instead.
Right. So again, the idea here is not just information overload or getting you more stuff that you could probably research and find out yourself otherwise, but it is to answer some questions that can potentially help you with the deal. For example, one of the customers we helped with had closed a deal with a company, and it was important to know what kind of technologies that their engineers were spending time on, overall technologies. And one of the technologies happened to be Android. Android was pretty high up. And once we provided that, the sales team changed the strategy to leverage Android in their sales presentations and sales pitches. And that deal with that Android being the first put in helped this company close close to $500 million deal, a multi-year $500 million deal. So understanding the landscape, understanding the biases and interests of the teams sometimes helps the deal. And this is going a little bit deeper and looking more at the trends. So if you were to pick up the same example, Wells Fargo, and say, show me the first 3 quarters of 2018 and how the budgets lined up and what the trends were. So if you look at it in Wells Fargo, here's the top 3 teams, the corporate risk team that we looked at earlier. It's definitely increasing, the significant increase in budgets for that team. The applications team is probably going down a little bit, and then the deposits team probably flat. Partner team and analytics teams are smaller but growing, so that's interesting. But definitely something big is going on in the corporate risk organization. That's our read. Now, also there is an increase in Hadoop spend and also Teradata spend. This is giving you a little bit more insight into the trends. It's more useful when you have to pick a team, and if you know that something is growing, then you probably want to spend more time and understand the underlying reasons why this is growing, what could be going on, is it relevant for what you're doing, and trying to find a match there. Because you see the company budget, Wells Fargo in this example, is definitely trending high. So it's the numbers are increasing. So it's a good company to invest your time on because they have increasing budgets. Corporate risk team is probably the one that you want to spend. And if you own that account, you probably will be flying to Charlotte a lot of times. So that's where a big chunk of money is being spent. Okay.
So this is like ways, right? Crowdsourcing.
Part of it is that, but again, there's a whole bunch of calibration that is going on, and obviously, the idea here is to really get very quickly to the team, the name of the team and location, and the one which is spending the most amount of money. So we know that we will never be 100% accurate in terms of budgetary numbers. Our goal is really to get closer, or really get you into a team and a location where money is being spent.
Without giving out any proprietary information, is part of the research that you're doing, is that pulled from like RFPs that are out there? Just some insight into that would be helpful.
Yeah, so there are many sources from which we collect information, but most of them are public sources. So they have to be either RFPs or SEC reports. but those only fill in some parts of the information we gather. A large chunk of the numbers that we generate is based upon the algorithms that we have, which is based on the graphs that we have built. So if we go by just the sources that are published, then we are probably in less than a 1% ability to put budgetary numbers. The majority of the numbers is actually an extrapolation based upon the algorithms of what we already know.